Alright guys, so Toro Turfmaster HDX30. So before I start talking too much about this, so you gotta understand, so I mow 16 lawns. It's about 80,000 square feet, so I mow 1 day a week. So I normally mow Thursdays. So not a ton, but you know, it's a solid 10 hour day there. So you have I've got this mower, and then I've also got a Cub Cadet Ultima. So this one I use on the majority of the properties, at least somewhere. First off, the things that I like for sure, parking brake. That is super duper nifty, just because this thing weighs a ton. Big gas tank, love that. The ease of adjustability on the height, just the fact it's labeled. Also, it's spring loaded, so it helps it kind of come back up. So you're not lifting the full weight of the mower. That's good. Just the width of the cutting is nice. But the things that I've noticed, so first bummer, when I got it, the front wheel was bent, and I can't really tell if you guys can tell, but it wouldn't cut, like it wouldn't mow straight because that front wheel's bent. So I took in the dealer, they bent it back. By the time I used it, well, 2-3 lawns in, it was weak enough, it bent back. Took it in again, they bent it back again, said they were going to order parts. It's been a couple weeks, still haven't got it. So that keeps spinning back. Other thing, so I've had this 3 months. The little, I don't know if you want to call it striping flap, flap underneath that keeps debris from shooting back at you, that sort of thing, and just kind of lays down the grass. That has worn through already. And considering I'm only on one oil change, I think that's kind of weird. The other thing that I kind of hate is to change the oil, you have to drain the gas, which is kind of a pain. Not the biggest deal, but also like flipping over on its side is really easy to clean up the deck and that sort of stuff, but you can't do that unless you drain the gas. So that's where I'll get a jack stand and put it up like that. You know, I've got to climb underneath. Not the biggest deal. And then I added, so I'll show you guys some stretch here in a minute, but I added basically on the back here, this helped stripe a little bit. It's basically like a little doormat thingamajig. They actually use them, it's meant to go, I've got another one here. It's meant to go like on the edge of the step. So I've got one right there, it's kind of a workbench thing. It's meant to go on like the edge of a step to improve your grip. So you have to zip tie one of those on the back here. That actually helped the stripe quite a bit. So that was good. Another thing that kind of pisses me off a little bit. So the brake cable for the brake right here comes down, so it comes around the left wheel, but the cable comes underneath there, and it keeps, like, it wasn't zip tied or anything, and it's at such a weird angle that it kept coming down and basically dragging on the ground. And so it was wearing on it, and then it was leaving a weird mark in the grass. So I had to add like 3 or 4 zip ties on the bottom and on the side just to hold that up. And then let me show you. So real quick, one of the main reasons why I bought this is because you can do all 3 things. So you can mulch, you can bag, and side discharge. So side discharging, good, no real problems there. Bagging, it's actually surprisingly well. It doesn't, like the small leaves and stuff, it doesn't suck up that well, even compared to like my residential, just like Home Depot $300 mower. It doesn't seem to suck it up as well. Mulching, it does it mulches up well, but it bogs down a lot. Like for instance, like this lawn over here, my neighbors, if I were to try and mow this right now at like 3.5, I would have to double cut and do like half speed. Like it bogs down quite a bit. And it's not like it's bogging down like stopping, it's just it's bogging down, and then the quality goes to crap, and you miss half of it. Then you leave clumps. So you have to go slow. And then let me show you guys, I mowed this a couple hours ago. So this is with the new, you can tell there's not really I mean, you can see the lines here, but there's not quite actually like a stripe. This is cut at 3. I mean, my grass isn't the thickest stuff out there, but I mean, I take care of it. But here's the bummer thing, is look at that. That's just a normal residential crap mower. And I've got a $2,500 mower here that can barely stripe. So that kind of bums me out. I mean, I'm still gonna use it, but I think when we paid I think it was like 22, 23 out the door after tax and all that. Pay that much for a mower, it should stripe better than a $300 Home Depot mower. So I guess the main issue I've got with it is, well, first off, so this lever, I'm not sure, so it's not that hard to pull, but when you've got to feather it, because it goes pretty quick, when you got to feather it to get the quality you want, you go half speed, then it wears you out pretty freaking quick. So that's where I wish, like, if you've seen on some of the Y Bravo mowers, they've got the 2-speed changer where you can change it from high to low. I think something like that would be sweet. I don't think you necessarily need, like, you know, the Hondas, you've got all the different options up here. I don't think you necessarily need that, but I think it would be very beneficial to have 2 speeds on there, just because a huge percentage of the time you can't go full speed just because it can't handle it. If you're bagging, you can go pretty much full speed, and it seems to, like, it's just got better airflow, so it actually bags a heck of a lot better, and the quality of cut is better when you're bagging than it is when you're mulching or side discharging. But that's the bummer thing, is 90% of the time I want to mulch. I don't want to bag everything, because here, I mean, pretty much everybody mulches most of the time. And so that's where I hate the fact that I've got to go, first off, I got to go slow, which, one, wears out your hands. 2, you're not going as consistent of a speed because you've got to constantly feather it and it's kind of jumping back and forth. And then it's just, I don't know. It sounds dumb, but, like, you shouldn't, especially, like, when you're cutting every week. And I mean, this isn't anything crazy, and it's not like I've just got 1 or 2 yards I've got to do that on. Like, it's the majority of the time I'm going slow. So that's a huge reason why I bought another riding lawn, or a bigger one, because most of my yards I can do. My base one is about 7,000 square feet. I could do with this, but it just, if you've got a double cut that much, it just doesn't make any sense. And then, so another weird thing, so, like, if you look on the website, they're, oh, it's all reinforced, got like a beefy bullnose here, which is freaking great if you hit a fire hydrant straight freaking on. But the problem is the majority of the time, guess when you hit something? You go to the end of your row and you go to turn, what happens is you clip the wheel. So that's where I think these, even if I get this replaced, I think I'm still going to bend the heck out of these things. Like, this one's still pretty good, but I think, and this sounds dumb, but, like, I own this, I paid for it, I take pretty freaking good care of it. I mean, I clean it every week, I clean out the deck, you know, I'm not dropping it off trailers and that sort of stuff. I think that, like, if you've got a big crew, guys, I think these things are not going to last that freaking long. Which, the thing that sucks is, so it's all one piece and it's spring loaded, so it's not like you can just replace this individual section right here. I mean, you've got to undo the whole freaking thing and pull it out. And then the other thing is because you've got, it's hard to bend back because it's this piece that's bent, but the minute you try and stick something on there, you're basically just wrenching on that tiny weld right there. So I don't think, I mean, I can bend it back, but it doesn't necessarily do a whole lot for it. And then the other thing that's kind of weird that it takes some getting used to is, so because the blades stop like here, you've got a huge amount basically to the back, or to where you're pivoting, is when you do your turn. Like if you get to the end of a row and you turn around, you basically got this weird spot right here that you've missed kind of in this corner. So that's where you kind of have to, like if you do just like one pass around the outside, then you've got all these little spots that if you don't back up again, if you don't get there and then back up a foot and then start going, you've got all these weird little circles at the end of each row that are missed. So that's just, I think that's just the nature of the beast. Just because it is longer, effectively, the wheelbase is longer. And then another thing that took some getting used to too is, like, compared to a lot of other mowers, is you can't, if you butt up against something, like, here, let's use these logs again. Like, if you try and butt up against something, you've got all the way out to here that you've got to trim. So even if you run the wheels up to something, that's a decent amount of trimming, and that's just enough that the trimmer, when you're trimming, it's like, if you don't stay centered, I mean if you're running without a guard, I'm sure you can run more string and you'll do it in one perfect pass. But for me, that's just enough that it's super duper easy to miss spots trimming. Oh yeah, and then the other thing too is there's I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but there's a bunch of play in the back end. I don't know, just small things. And then, like, also, so when you change the oil, you have to tip it over to the right hand side, which means the weight, and it's also the way it's resting. When you I think this weighs like, also on the website, it's like 170 something, but you get gas and oil and a bag and crap on there, it weighs easily 200 pounds. Is you tip it over the right hand side, and guess what all the weight's leaning against? This little handle. So, I mean, it hasn't been or anything yet, but it's just one of those things that if you're not careful, when you tip it over to drain the oil, you're gonna either scratch that or bend it or break it or whatever. So, and this is, so I've only owned one other commercial mower. I owned a Honda HRX 216. So this thing I think is better as far as if you've only got one machine to own, because this thing, like, like 7,000 feet seemed, I mean, is big to mow, but when you think about that, I've got more time than most of you guys do. For me, only having at the beginning of the season, I only planned on having one mower. That was the whole plan, is to keep costs as low as I could and just have one new piece of equipment. But if I've got to run half speed and double cut, then there's no way, because if it would have taken me an hour to mow a lawn, all of a sudden if I've got to go half speed, or even let's just say I go full speed and double cut, all of a sudden that turned into 2 hours. So a lot of that just doesn't make sense anymore.